Welcome to the first edition of Hero of Legends. Well, I guess you could call it musing or something of the sort. As a writer, I write for SonicStadium.org, and I occasionally publish my own written opinion pieces, which I call Hero of Legends Musings. And I haven't done anything like that in a while, but I decided to give my own vocal opinion on at least any topic I am interested in, and I decided to make the first topic about just generally about Sonic as a whole, but more about his place in the current industry. This is inspired by a recent thread on NeoGAF titled "It boggles my mind how bad Sega messed up the Sonic franchise." And I already actually contributed my thoughts in writing in the thread, but to more or less elaborate on that, I basically feel that Sonic, well, it's no secret that Sonic games have been, shall we say, not at their peak in quality in recent years. Although I would say the last good Sonic game was on what was Sonic Generations on generally the PS3 and Xbox 360. But yeah, I guess that is true. But to me, excuse me, the main issues with Sega, aside from just in general not taking such good care of Sonic's overall quality, but I think it's a bit more than just that. For one thing, you may, if you follow me and read my articles on Sonic Stadium, you basically notice that I'm a huge advocate of Sonic being on Nintendo hardware. I mean, if you look at my channel, my YouTube channel is basically chock full of Nintendo system games. So yes, I'm a pretty big Nintendo fan. That's no secret, and I'm proud of it. But it's all like my very first Sonic game was actually Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube. That was the first one I ever bought. But I've played like I tried out like the Genesis games here and there, but the first one I really played was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and I became a passionate Sonic fan ever since. I've owned most of the entries that have shown up on Nintendo hardware, with very few missing games. Like some I don't own would include Sonic Lost World 3DS. I wasn't really keen on getting that as soon as I saw the entirety of HellfireComms Sonic Lost World 3DS playthrough. Shoutouts to them. But anyways, Nintendo's MO is basically their motto is all about family gaming. Cartoony mascot, family-friendly gaming. And Sonic is obviously everything. He fits into that category perfectly. And to me, he just doesn't fit into the Sony and Microsoft crowd. And I'll elaborate this in a bit, but for one thing, let me bring up a point that I made in that thread in question at NeoGAF, so I can elaborate on them a little further. Let me just bring up the post right now. Here we are. Basically, I said that, anyway, I'll quote myself. Anyway, obviously Sega have done an extremely poor job getting the series to remain consistently good. One other thing I think works against the series is keeping him multi-platform, as Sonic's been an amazing seller when his games are good on Nintendo hardware, and for the following reasons. Number one, development costs are obviously very high. Someone would later correct me and say that was maybe more true years ago. But just speaking in a more hypothetical sense, they could spend the same amount making the game on one system. Say the game has a set budget. I just no number in particular, but whatever a game would generally cost, especially at Sonic Team making a mainline Sonic game, and spending the same amount making the game on one system better than roughly the same amount of money making it for making 5 versions of the game, and possibly less as good. What I mean by this is, like I said, say the game has a set budget. Wouldn't the game be better at using said budget if it was all used in one version, one or two versions of the game? And usually with Sonic games, the console one is by Sonic Team, and the handheld versions are by Dimps. I'll get more into Dimps later. And when the games are usually multi-platform, they're usually on multiple systems, and by that I mean like 3 or 4, maybe 5 systems. I think Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed was actually the Sonic game on the most systems at once, but I'll have to look back on that. Anyways, personally, I would think it's a lot easier if all the money was spent, like, whatever the amount of money would be used in terms of porting costs and whatnot, can instead be diverted into extra polish and whatnot. But the second point I brought up was in relation, is this also causes them to split resources. Even Iizuka, I remember, admitting that working on a single platform is a lot easier for them than on multiple systems for a game. And I said I would believe, I could be wrong, this was addressed in a interview back in 2007 about Knight's Journey of Dreams, which was a Wii exclusive. And basically, if you have like a team of, I don't know, 100 people, if all 100 people are working on a single version of a game on a single platform, that's a lot better than, say, maybe, I don't know, 70 odd people working on the main version, and then the rest working on porting to other systems, when that other 30 odd people can stay with the singular team, with the main team, and just work on adding extra hands to make the game better in various ways, most specifically in polished, but also maybe contributing other ideas and just pointing out mistakes that maybe would not be pointed out otherwise. You never know. Obviously, I'm not experienced in game development, so I'm just throwing guesses here, but I'm just saying what I assume is to be the case, but feel welcome to politely correct me. And the third point is they can work directly with Nintendo for co-development, which can result in a much better game. Remember, Nintendo barely did anything other than arrange the exclusivity deal, referencing Sonic Lost World through Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, etc., and Nintendo just allowed Sega to use the Yoshi and Zelda IPs for Sonic Lost World's DLC. And that was basically it. Obviously, they worked with Sega on Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Games, or Winter Olympic Games, whatever. So yes, they did work heavily with Sega on that. And in all honesty, I think it was undoubtedly the best of the three, if only because when the games were announced, Sochi and Lost World, in the May 17th, 2013 Direct, I think a lot will remember that Sochi was very, very, had a very low frame rate. Like, it was running at like 10 frames a second in that video. It was really surprisingly poor. And I remember from previews and whatnot that it was it was also still in that bad shape by E3 2013. But miraculously, by release, those problems were erased. Like, apparently it ran at a pretty smooth 30 frames, which I think is a really impressive feat, considering that was only, 5 months or so after the game's unveiling. And I honestly think that was probably due to Nintendo's involvement with the game. Had Sega been left to their own devices with that game, I don't think it would have been nearly as polished. And frankly, if Nintendo had full hands-on with the whole exclusivity deal, not just with Sochi and eventually Rio Olympics, which I'll get to again later, I think the whole deal would have just been an amazing thing. It could have resulted in like probably Sonic's best games in its entire history. Why Nintendo basically sat on the sidelines, I will never ever know. But it is what it is. It happened, and we can only look forward into the future where we'll see what happens. But yeah, ever since then we've gotten 2 games have been announced, like 2 notable games. I mean, we've had the 3D Classics games on 3DS with Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Sonic 2 of which I actually reviewed on Sonic Stadium. I can link that in the description for you if you're interested. Anyways, so far we got Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games on Wii U and 3DS. The 3DS version is already out worldwide. Basically came out between like March and April and whatnot in various regions. Japan was the first one to get it. And I think it was then North America and then Europe in April. Could be wrong. And the Wii U version is due on June 23rd in Japan and the day after on the 24th in North America and Europe. If you want to read a preview on that, shout out to Nintendaan at Nintendo World Report. He just wrote today a pretty sizable preview of the game, which I will also link in the description. I had a look and it was really good. Thank you very much, Nintendaan. I really appreciate his work and effort. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the Wii U version. I haven't bought the 3DS version yet. Actually, speaking of the 3DS version, did you know that Arzest worked on that game? Who is Arzest? I wrote another article on that. Again, description, blah blah blah. And to basically just make it brief, Arzest is basically the successor of Artoon. And what's special about Artoon and now Arzest is that they were formed by key Sega employees, including, but not limited to, Naoto Oshima, who is most known as the co-creator and character designer of Sonic and Dr. Eggman. He was basically, there were 3 creators of Sonic, for those who just want a little history lesson. They were Naoto Oshima, who was the character designer, Hirokazu Yasuhara, who was the main game designer, and Yuji Naka, who was the programmer of the original Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive for you folks in Europe and Japan. And yeah, they're no longer there. But they're no longer at Sega. But still, this is the very first game that Naoto Oshima has been involved with Sonic in it since he left Sega in 1999 to form Artoon. How about that? And I'm still pretty surprised by this semi-return, if you will, to the franchise. In fact, he's the only one since the last of the 3, Yuji Naka, left in 2006 to work on Sonic. So, again, for the full thing, just read the article I wrote. Anyways, Wii U version's due in late June, as I said. And then the second game is Sonic Boom Fire and Ice for 3DS, which is, to put it short, a sequel to Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal, which is, well, basically I've read is just basically mediocre. It's not Rise of Lyric bad, but it's still decent. I mean, it's got issues, but hopefully the sequel will address all those. I mean, the PR was promising that, but the proof is in the pudding when the game comes out in, I believe, September 24th or 22nd, but I could be wrong. And I'm pretty sure that's only for officially in North America. But anyways, Sonic is, how should I put this? Well, right now, everyone is just waiting for the 25th anniversary game. That's the big anticipation right now with regards to Sonic. I know I didn't really elaborate as a whole on the, him not being as good as he used to be, but to bring that back, I personally found his peak to be the Adventure games. Adventure 1 and 2, specifically on GameCube, Dreamcast, whatever. With his last major great game was Heroes. Yes, I loved Sonic Heroes on the GameCube. I know I got a lot. I know a sizable group hate it, and I know it was god awful on PS2, where it had like really bad frame rate and glitches galore or whatever. I haven't seen that for myself, but I've seen some videos, and the only real difference I can really see from the get-go is the shadows are circular instead of normal, like they were in Sonic Adventure 1, but that's another story. But really, the real first dud was Shadow the Hedgehog, which, I'll be honest, I was really anticipating. I was so excited for that game. It was coming out when I was like 15 years old, so I felt like I was in the right age group for that I was targeting. And, it looked really cool. It's just a shame that it turned out like it did. But, it was a cool idea to me at the time. I know everyone was, like, face-palming to Beyond when the trailer was first unveiled, but, like I said, I was really excited for it. I was really hyped, but in the end, it's not that bad. I mean, it's okay. I mean, at least it was a proper 3D, adventure-style game with, even though Shadow runs like the speed of sound, literally, in the game. Like, literally, it's like he's always on the speed, he always has the speed shoes power up in the game. He's just really almost too fast in the game, which is so weird. Like, I found them to be just fine, speed-wise in Heroes, but for whatever reason, Shadow the Hedgehog, he's just slippery like butter. Whatever. And of course, 06 happened, and we all know how that went. Like, to me, the game is actually a big hoot. If you watch it on YouTube, that is. Watch so many commentaries and all that from, like, HellfireComms, Brain Scratch Comms, etc. And of course, PokeCaptain, gotta mention him. Great stuff. The game may be terrible, but it's full of laughs. Such a shame that Rise of Lyric, at least from what I've seen so far, it doesn't offer that much in entertainment. It's just downright awful, and I reviewed it. Unfortunately, the review was removed because the Sonic Stadium website had an hiccup, and a lot of articles, including my review of it, got dropped. They got taken down, lost, whatever. Apologies. Anyways, and actually, and some may remember, I gave it a surprisingly positive review. Just for the record, I am so sorry. It was my first review, and I was too soft on the game. So, if you remember what it said, I take it back. It's garbage. It is garbage. And I was really hyped for it, too. I know, I seem to be excited for bad games, or at least games bad in concept, but I'm an open-minded person. I like different things, I'm open for anything. Hey, I was excited for Black Knight. I mean, come on. I kind of like the idea of maybe Sonic going Legend of Zelda style, I think Sonic is a very versatile IP. It's just that they're not utilizing him right. I mean, he can be used for more than just going fast. Yeah, I know, it's like the old stereotype with him. He goes slow, he sucks, but not necessarily. I mean, yeah, he can still go fast and whatnot. Like, I don't mean Sonic Labyrinth slow or Sonic Boom slow, but he could do more than just one thing. He's not a one-trick pony or hedgehog, that is. But, whatever, I mean, it's just, hopefully, if Sega do experiment again, it will be a much better effort. Anyways, back to Sony and Microsoft. I promised to bring them back up. Sonic is, as I said before, very fitting with the Nintendo crowd. And, another plug, I apologize, but I'm proud of my article, so I'll also link in the description my Sonic's history with Nintendo article, which is I consider to be my proudest work on the site, where I cover every single game that Sonic has ever had on a Nintendo platform, bar most virtual console releases. I don't really count those. The only ones I included were Advance 1, which on the Wii U Virtual Console in Japan, which came out at the time. But yeah. It's a very long article, and I basically summarize each of them and their relevance to Nintendo platforms. And I basically, it's no secret that I think that Sonic is so not only so fitting with Nintendo. I think he should just stay with them. I think Nintendo should just go to Sega and say, why don't we just work together permanently? Sonic can just stay exclusive to Nintendo systems like we arranged before with the exclusivity deal, but make it, permanently. But not just that, Nintendo will not only co-publish the games like Bayonetta 2, but we will also co-develop the games, make sure they are done right. No more leaving things to no longer leaving you to your own devices. No, we don't want another Lost World or worse Sonic Boom on our hands. We want this shit done right. And I think this could be a very fruitful partnership. And we've already seen, them sort of dip their toes into that kind of partnership, obviously with the exclusivity deal, but also with Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. And of course, the Amiibo integration in Mario Kart 8 with the Mii outfit. And in Super Mario Maker, where Sonic in his Sonic 1 sprite, which is weird because it's the only 16-bit sprite in the game, of the Amiibo costumes in the game. And, it just feels like it could be so much more. But anyways, back to Sony and Microsoft. Their demographic, let's face it, is mostly in the quote-unquote grim, dark games. I mean, yes, I understand there's a fan base for, colorful, cartoony games. Hell, I've heard there was a decent kids market on 360, which is why, at least late into the system's life cycle, there were more 360 versions of family licensed games, like SpongeBob Hero Pants or the first Nickelodeon Turtles game. That got a 360 release, but not a PS3 release. And in both cases, didn't even come out on Wii U. But, I think that a lot was just because of the system's obviously high user base. I mean, by the time it was over a decade old now. And also, games like, I know it's actually bundled with a lot of family games, like Kung Fu Panda and Lego Star Wars, The Complete Saga, I think were bundled at one point. So, at least Microsoft attempted to at least try to appeal to them, and apparently, and also the Kinect probably helped with that as well. As much as we don't like it, Kinect Sports did really well. So, that probably had a hand in it. But anyways, even that cannot compare to the audience on Nintendo hardware. Here's a tidbit. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed sold best on Wii U. I can back that up with at least Swords on Gaff. Basically, according to potential NPD numbers, leaks or whatever, the game did best on Wii. Not only did best on Wii U, but I think it did more than the PS3 and 360 versions combined. I don't. No, that might have been Rayman Legends, but either way, the Wii U version sold more than the 360 and PS3 versions, and this is a console that had just launched versus consoles that have been out for, at the time, over 6 years? Yeah. And with user bases, install bases of tens of millions. And obviously at launch, the Wii U would have only had, a few 100,000 at the time. And it still had the high-selling version of the game. If that doesn't show Sonic's selling power on Nintendo hardware versus Sony and Microsoft hardware, I don't know what does. But anyways, it's just, I don't think it's worth putting Sonic on Sony and Microsoft hardware. I know there's a fan base for him on those systems, but I think that's a very small minority. And I'm sorry, but that's honestly how I feel. I think it's a lot easier to just focus on the Nintendo crowd, streamline development, focus on the one fan base, on the Nintendo fans. What's also telling is actually, well, may or may not be related to my point. There's a thread on GAF where it's about Sega's survey asking which franchises do you want Sonic to crossover with? Guess who is winning the poll? Nintendo characters by over half of the total votes. And this is like beating out other possibilities like Looney Tunes, Dragon Ball Z, which honestly I would have loved to have seen a long time ago, personally. My Little Pony, Capcom characters, which kind of makes sense with the comic, and other such things. Nintendo had the vast majority of the vote, like over half of all the votes. I think that is another telling thing, and this is from like not just Nintendo fans, but like probably like across various systems, possibly. I'm just guessing here. So, yeah, that's basically that in a nutshell. What can Sega do from here, aside from, the Nintendo suggestion? How about a game suggestion? Personally, if I could snap my fingers and make a Sonic, like any Sonic game appear, it would be SA3. Yeah, I'm one of those SA3 advocates. I've been wanting Sonic Adventure 3 ever since probably Sonic Adventure DX in 2003. I thought Heroes would basically be SA3. And you know what? I still consider Heroes to be the closest thing to SA3. It just feels like it got the most right. It got the most finer details of the adventure series right. And it helps that it came right afterward, but still. Heroes is my number one SA3-like game. Not 06, forget about that. Shadow was close. With a few more adjustments, it could have taken Heroes' place as being SA3 for me. Especially since it was a proper continuation, like a proper sequel story-wise to SA2. But, yeah, some things in the game prevented that. But I would personally have it be SA3, and actually I would love for Heroes 2 to be made. But that's another thing. I just want to, preferably, I would want it to be more like SA1 with the big hub worlds, not like Unleashed worlds, please. That was terrible. Very cramped, very and I'm not a fan of the whole Pixar-like style they went with the game. No thanks. Personally, I've always been an advocate of Sonic being a more anime style. That's just me, though. I always felt the adventure games, especially SA1 and even Heroes, had a more Japanese influence to it, more anime influence. I mean, the Sonic OVA was just badass. And it's the 28th anniversary of its release in Japan today. How about that? But yeah, that's basically what I would choose. And what's also funny is that Takashi Iizuka was the director of the Adventure era and Heroes, Shadow, basically all Sonic Team USA's games, including Journey of Dreams. He actually did one other game. He directed Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, the Vancouver one on Wii. That was his last directed game, which is interesting. And yeah, he basically just exclusively took up a producer role right afterward, starting with Colors and Sonic 4. He's not a good producer. He's much better a director than a producer. I think some might agree with me. He needs to direct again, not produce. I think Yuji Naka basically was the producer in most of his time there at Sega in the 2000s before he left. I miss Yuji Naka. He's now at ProPay. Read, that's ProPay. I remember reading that on the site. It was ProPay. ProPay, not Prop. Thank you. And yeah, Rodea the Sky Soldier Wii finally came out last year, and it was far better than the Wii U version, which was ported from the 3DS version. Why, Kadokawa? Why? Why didn't you just remaster the Wii version? Could have been so awesome. But anyways, at least Nippon Ichi America brought over all versions of the game, so dodged a bullet there. Even though the Wii is way past its age now, we managed to get the Wii version with it, but only as part of the Wii U game, version. Yeah, the extra game was the better game. Isn't that weird? But anyways, oh yeah, I should talk. Well, I said what game I would personally choose to be like the next his comeback game or his 25th anniversary game. Basically, that's what it's gonna. I think SA3 is probably the most likely game. It's funny because Aaron Weber sort of let slip that when someone asked when he showed those binders of SA2 concept art, a fan asked, "Is there one for SA3?" And he's like, "No, that doesn't exist." Whoops. So maybe he let slip that maybe there isn't an SA3. Well, there's not a name. You never know. Might just not be a name. But how is it SA3 if it's not a name? But a rose by any other name is just as sweet. I don't know what else they could do for the 25th anniversary game. It's basically going to be one of two things: SA3 or a completely different game. I don't see it being Gens 2. No, that's not something Sega should be pursuing. If they want to do the if they want to do that boost formula again, that's fine. But they can't make it a series of just rehashed levels over and over again every 5 years. That's not a good thing to do. I understand why people love that game, but it's just, I like to call it rehash the game. It's just remade levels. To me, remade levels are fitting as extras in a new game, not an entire game based on it. If you want to remake, that's fine. But Generations was just a game where all you played were remade levels, aside from the bosses or whatnot. Well, I mean, like the Time Eater boss. That's not something Sega should do, and I hope they never do that again. Maybe in like 20 years from now, I guess, but not as a consistent anniversary game. Please, no. That's one thing I really appreciate Colors over Generations. It was an all-new game. Colors was also another game I was so over the moon for. And honestly, I didn't like it that much. I like it, but it was really underwhelming. Too many 2D sections. I prefer the 3D gameplay. Unleashed Wii is much better, in my opinion. Well, not better, just more fun to me. I know, I'm like that weird person that just seems to like the lesser liked games by the community. But yeah, honestly, I feel like Unleashed Wii is better than Colors. I don't know, I like the setting better, I like the gameplay generally better. Like, it was, like, even the Werehog, this'll blow your mind. I like the Werehog, I like the Wiimote controls. It is true. I feel like I'm the only person on this planet that actually managed to beat the whole game with the Wiimote and Nunchuck. I only played, like, with the GameCube controller once, and I found it a bit odd. I don't know why, I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but I beat the whole thing with the Wiimote and Nunchuck alone. And it was a lot of fun! I really enjoyed it. What I really wish was that instead of working on Black Knight, Sega would have instructed the Secret Rings team to immediately work on Unleashed Wii. Unleashed Wii was done by Dimps, Xeen, which is spelled Xeen, and O2. Xeen and O2 are the two devs behind the later Sonic Riders games. So, and apparently it even reused the Zero Gravity engine, which, yeah, I could sort of see that. And yeah, I mean, I so appreciate it being made, despite it obviously not being the same effort as Colors. But I think it would just been probably better overall if they ditched Black Knight and just instead have put that effort towards Unleashed for Wii. Just made it really close to the HD version, but as its own thing, like the Unleashed Wii was, because obviously Unleashed Wii did things better to a lot of reviewers than the HD version did, like the medals and whatnot. Sorry, FTA. I know you really love Black Knight, but I was like I said, I was excited for it, but it just, why did they reuse this Secret Rings gameplay? It was not made for that. Oh boy, with the whole You gotta run in a single, not just linear, but you barely have any control of your character gameplay. Why couldn't it have been free roam? That would have been so much cooler. But anyways, yeah, Unleashed Wii was really good. It's basically like actually my favorite Sonic game on Wii is actually Zero Gravity. I hate to do this again, but on Sonic Stadium I did 2 lookbacks, like my own retrospective articles on Zero Gravity and Unleashed for Wii. You know the drill. I'll link them in the description. I'm sorry for the it's not really a plug so much as just that it's a speaking of sort of thing. Like I did a lot of personal articles on Sonic Stadium in my 2-year run so far. I joined in February of 2014. The day before Boom was announced. Can you believe it? What a first day that was. Yeah, my first article was the Boom unveiling. It was so exhausting. You have no idea. Well, what a day to start, I tell you. But anyways, give those a read, and you see things from my point of view, why I like them so much, and another little details and maybe some trivia. It's been a while since I've written them, but I'm proud of those articles too. I'm proud of most of the articles I write, and I really hope you enjoy the articles I write. Obviously by now there are a handful of them in the description, but I hope you like the content I put on the site. I do my best. I make mistakes, a lot of mistakes, but I try to learn from them. All I ask is for people to, if I make mistakes, just point them out to me, and I'll do my best to correct them, to do better next time. Nobody's perfect. I just want to do the best I can. I'm a Sonic fan too, so I just want to do good things for the community, It's funny because I was actually a big fan of Sonic Stadium for well over a decade now. I first started browsing the site in 2003. And little did I know, I would eventually become a writer on the site in 2014. Wouldn't have thought that over 10 years ago. Well, I'm very proud of my position there. And like I said, I hope I do a good job. I'm not perfect, but I try. Anyways, did I cover everything I said I was going to cover? If I didn't, apologies. But anyway, I guess this is a good time as any to wrap up. I really hope you liked my opinions on various Sonic-related matters. And if you have any thoughts on it, just leave a comment or two, or don't at all. I prefer feedback. Basically, all I want from you guys is feedback, thoughts. I'm not one of those guys who say like, comment, and subscribe. I want feedback. That's all I want. I'm not interested in numbers. I want feedback. Your thoughts on the matter. That's what, they're fun to read. I can respond to questions, etc., etc. That's all I want from you guys. You don't have to do anything. Just watch the video and don't do anything at all. You do what you choose to do. Don't ever feel like I'm forcing you to do anything. I'm not that kind of person. And with that, I guess that will be it. Thank you so much for watching, well, in this case, listening. And I hope to return at some point with another thought video. One topic, actually I would have liked to have covered, but I think I think I'll wrap up here anyways, is just the NX in general. I want to comment more on Sonic's, future on NX, or potential future on NX, and you know what? That's a good topic for another video. So, yeah, I'll end it here. And, yeah, see you later.